Hello and welcome to this episode of the Formula WINOL podcast. Today we are previewing the upcoming Bahrain Grand Prix, the third last race of the calendar, and it's a triple header, of course. I'm joined by Ed and Tom, as per usual.
Yo.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
What's-
Sad that we've only got 3 races left now. It feels like it's been an eternity. It feels weird that we're in November, and yet we've still got 3 races left. It is quite weird.
Yeah, I mean, last year we had a season finale in December, but that was like the 2nd of December. So it's mad that, we're nearly at the end. But then again, we only have to wait 3 months this time.
True.
Hopefully.
True.
Yeah, we hope so. But yeah, I mean, it's not been a busy week rumour-wise. I think we were all hoping some big announcement would happen. There's the Magnussen rumours that came out today.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know whether that was rumour or actual. I just saw it on
confirmed.
Twitter this morning.
I
It's
think
confirmed.
but-
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know whether that's going to be his full-time role. I think it's starting to lean towards him looking like a very likely to go into IndyCar.
Yeah,
because that's what a lot of drivers
to be
do.
a part-time series with IndyCar.
Yeah.
Like, see Alexander Rossi, Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, I
Elio
mean Castroneves.
Castroneves,
Yeah,
yeah.
he used to do that. He used to go in the.
He still does that.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see if he goes to IndyCar.
It'll be interesting to see if Grosjean follows suit as well.
I think Grosjean's more likely to go into IndyCar from the French connection. 'Cause We've got drivers like Bourdais,
Pagenaud, yeah.
Pagenaud, all these French drivers. So he's got
Absolutely.
that connection. And he kind of fits the bill in terms of IndyCar because he crashes a lot.
Oh, well, here we go. I
Controversy.
spoke to Ed before this podcast
This
saying
is
no more
okay.
slamming drivers.
It's
We're
banter.
2 minutes into the podcast, guys.
It's
We're
banter.
already
It's
into it.
banter. It's banter.
Of course.
He is a skilled driver on his day, and he will be able to hopefully stick it to the boys.
And the most recent driver to get a race ban for dangerous driving from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how well he performs.
Oh yeah, I think he'll do brilliantly in IndyCar. Genuinely.
Because I think there is a... I do love IndyCar. It's great. I watched it this season. It's great races. But the talent gap between F1 and IndyCar is quite big. And so I think Grosjean is certainly not the most talented driver in F1, but I think he'll come into IndyCar and win a lot of races and do quite well if he can be given the car to do that.
I don't know about that talent gap thing though, because IndyCar has a lot of former F1 drivers who either they were there for a while or they were there and were okay while they were there. Like Marcus Ericsson, he was there for 4 or 5 seasons.
He was quite good.
And Caterham.
Yeah.
He performed on his day, and he's performed well in IndyCar in his first season with Chip Ganassi, I believe.
Yeah, I think
You know.
midfield talent, but I think top talent. I think if you were to get someone the likes of Hamilton or Verstappen or
Fernando
Leclerc,
Alonso.
or maybe even Alonso, I think they would come in and wipe the floor with everyone.
I think differently, but I will say why. I'm not just gonna jump in and be like you're wrong.
No,
I
You're
think
wrong.
the thing about IndyCar is it's totally about rhythm, and I feel like a lot of the drivers, such as Verstappen in particular, who sets up his car to spin at every corner, that's why no one else can drive it, because he drives on a knife edge, not with any sort of rhythm. I think he'd really struggle. I think it's why.
Especially because those cars, they don't have power steering.
Yeah, so they're
So that's
heavy
a
as
big
well.
problem.
I think Roman will do really well because he's raced in that previous era of F1 before it became quite what they are today.
and he was better, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's gotten worse. Of these.
2013.
Yeah, 2013
a lot of
Grosjean was.
podiums.
Oh yeah.
2015 as well, he got a podium.
But no, I think there is good talent in IndyCar. I'm certainly not saying that they're not talented. I think Scott Dixon, I don't know how old he is. He's certainly
like
getting
40.
on. But the fact that he's still able to win championships and the fact that he's so consistent, I think if he was 20 years younger, I would have him as a solid pick to go into F1. If he was performing at this rate when he at that age,
I believe he had an F1 test actually. I think he had a test at must have been Minardi.
Right.
Because I remember there was a test. I think it must have been like a Josh Revel video.
Was that early 2000s or was
It
that?
was like 2004, I think.
Yeah.
It was during the Maldonado Josh Revel video,
Mm.
and Maldonado was in that test in 2004.
Right.
He didn't get into F1 until 2011, so that kind of says how long.
Yeah. I mean, there was
these guys have
Bourdais,
been
wasn't
around.
there? There was Bourdais that came into F1.
He was in F1, yeah, 2008 and half that.
And he was a bit of a flop, to be honest, in F1. He didn't really do much. I think which put a bit of a dark shadow on IndyCar
Yeah.
drivers coming into
Considering
F1.
he's an IndyCar legend with
Yeah.
3 titles
Um,
back to back as well.
But no, I think if they can't get a seat in F1, I would like Magnussen and I almost said Leclerc for some reason. Leclerc to IndyCar, shock move. No, it will be good to see Magnussen and Grosjean in that in there. I mean, I think in hindsight, I kind of wish Alonso wasn't in F1 and went to McLaren's IndyCar team.
Yeah.
I just wish he wasn't in F1.
Yeah, just in general.
There's so many better drivers that could occupy that
Yeah.
seat, and so many young drivers.
Joe.
Then
Lundgaard.
again, I think it was more of a safe move by Renault because there's no guarantee that Zhou or Lundgaard would get the super license.
Yeah,
once
I
next
don't
True.
think Zhou's quite ready, and I keep forgetting it's Lundgaard's first season in
Mm.
F2.
He needs time.
I think Zhou, I think Alonso, although I think he's on a 2-year contract, right?
Yeah.
I think he's only going to be there for 1 year.
Mm.
I think he'll either...
What, Alonso?
Yeah, Alonso.
No way.
I don't think he'll finish that contract.
Of course he will. He's told them to forget about next year's car. They're only building 2022's car.
I think that's the reason why he signed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
For
signed for that
2022.
one last shot
Yeah.
with the backing of a manufacturer.
Which, let's be honest...
Isn't going to pan
It's
out.
not going to happen.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
And I
Renault's
assume that's why
3-year
Vettel
plan.
signed as well. I think that's why I think he signed.
I think Vettel's on a 3-year contract, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think Aston Martin's a lot more likely than Renault.
Well, they're owned by Mercedes, aren't they?
Mm,
Like,
definitely.
you're pretty sorted there. But we've got some notes about it that Tom has so kindly made up.
See, this is what I didn't realise, right? I was a dumb idiot. I made the notes, and I asked Torin before we made the podcast, is it going to be the oval one on the first or second race? And me not looking at the schedule and thinking, yeah, it'll be the oval first, right?
Nope.
No.
So one of the points on here is invalidated because it's Russell
Pretty much.
talking about
So
the
we
oval.
can skip past that.
We can talk about that
That's for next
next
week.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the DRS sections, have they changed? There's 3, isn't there now?
I think
Yeah.
the back straight might be DRS as well. It'd be
Yeah,
the
there's
main
just
straight.
3. No track should have 3
Turn
DRS
3
sections.
to turn 4, then the back
Mm.
straight.
Uh,
I don't know
But
whether
there
it's
could
really
be-
needed on the front straight, to be honest.
There could even be 4 DRS zones because there's also the one after turn 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't. So I've always been a big believer in the whole, DRS is awful, it's ruining the sport. But then we had Abu Dhabi last year that proved me wrong.
Yeah.
However, I still think that any more than 2 DRS zones on a track is too much.
I agree. I think especially when they're as long as they are in Bahrain.
Yeah, they need to just shorten the zones.
I think it should be the start finish straight, and then the straight when you cross into, in the middle sector.
Yeah, the one after the tight.
After the
left-hander.
horrible winding,
Yeah. Because obviously, if there wasn't DRS, that wouldn't be an overtaking spot there. So I think that's fair enough. Where's the other one? Is it on the back straight after you? Before the final corner?
I don't think that actually is the one on the back straight. 'Cause
No,
it's
it's-
not really long enough.
Is it
So
after
it's-
turn 3?
Yes,
Yeah,
so
right,
turn
yeah.
3,
it's the home straight, and then you've got the first couple corners, and then there's one there, and you've got
So
a
I
few
don't
more corners.
think it really needs one there.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
have one on the front straight, fair enough, but make it shorter. And then I think turn 3, I don't think it really needs it
I
there,
think the
to
main
be
straight's
honest.
the one that doesn't need it because you can get quite a good slingshot out of
Mm.
that final 2 corners.
If you set it
And
up right,
then
yeah.
all you need is slipstream. Cause
Yeah.
I think they just need to shorten them to make it at least a maximum of less than half on the straight.
Mm.
Because all they need is like a couple hundred meters of the
Yeah.
DRS, and then they've already got the speed boost they need.
Mm.
They don't need to have it get DRS to go all the way past, and then just okay, yeah, maybe in terms of safety, you don't want cars always side by side, but in terms of making the sport actually feel more organic, that's the best way to go
Yeah.
if we're still going to keep DRS.
I mean, I think it will be interesting to see what it's like in 2022.
There won't be any in 2022.
I think it will be, hopefully 2022 comes in and we're like, we don't need DRS because the racing's that good. That's the dream that us F1 fans are holding on to, that 2022 is going to be like this god season.
We all seem to think the 2022 season is going to be like this season's Premier League.
Yeah. But I mean, what I was going to come on to say is it's crazy what difference a year makes. Like, coming into this race weekend, last year, it was Leclerc got pole, right?
I think it was a
pretty sure
1-2 on the
Leclerc
grid,
got
wasn't?
pole,
No, it
wasn't
wasn't a 1-2. Vettel was like 4th, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Spun out.
but the Ferraris
Oh,
were like,
qualifying, I think.
yeah, the Ferraris were crazy strong. Leclerc would have won the race, but obviously, heartbreak for Ferrari fans and Leclerc fans. Matt Gallagher was crying, I would assume.
Probably. Poor lad.
I'm not a fanboy. I'm passionate.
But
Yeah, you're a Lando Norris fanboy over
I
there.
am not.
Pipe down.
I am not.
40, our resident 14-year-old
I will not
in the
take,
studio.
I will not take this
You can't say that.
bullying.
We'll have to fill out all kinds of paperwork because Ed's 14.
I will take my memory stick and go home.
But
My mum said I'm not allowed to play with you guys anymore because you're mean to me.
I'm taking my ball and leaving.
But I think it will be interesting to see the difference between how the Ferrari-powered cars perform this weekend and next weekend. Whether it will be that much of a difference. Because obviously they're going to struggle with their lack of power. But you wonder whether, obviously because this one it's more tight, it's more twisty, whether they can still be in that sort of like third best car. Or whether they're going to be battling with the likes of, Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo. They're going to be battling with all them, not what we expected and what we saw in Turkey with Renault and McLaren.
Yeah.
I think they'll be awful at both, and I think that at least one of them will see a catastrophic engine failure. Like
That is
a
a
proper.
bold prediction.
Do you know
Is
what
that going to be one of the predictions?
No.
we see
My
later
predictions.
on?
My predictions are great. I've already got
I
mine.
haven't thought about the predictions.
The,
for F1,
um,
to be fair.
No, I haven't even
Vettel,
considered it.
2016, Vettel had a engine failure going to the grid in Bahrain
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
last straight before the last corner.
And Kimmy had that in practice. He had to walk back, and it was fun.
Oh,
to
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
F1 just doesn't let that one go though.
No.
Like, every year, so
Haha,
can we wonder if
Funny
he does
meme.
it? Will he find ice cream?
kept his helmet on, lol. Sunburnt, lol.
Bois.
Wha-
Boah, lol. We are the funniest people.
r/I'm 14 and this is funny. So I reckon, that we'll see a fairly. I think Bahrain. It's going to be a testing track again next year. I think from memory. So
Yeah, I think it's rumoured to be pre-season at Bahrain.
and it's only going to be 1 week's testing rather than 2 weeks. So there'll be.
It's good. I think it's good to make the sport more
Yeah,
competitive.
absolutely.
Step forward, but they still need to stop testing up tracks they race at.
Yeah, I think
Go
that's
to
silly.
Jerez.
I'm
Because
glad
Otherwise,
they.
it just makes the race a snooze fest.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the testing got snowed out at Spain a couple of years ago. That was quite funny. But we've also mentioned what happened last time, which we were just talking about, which was it was quite a good race actually. To be fair,
It
last
wasn't
year.
bad. It definitely wasn't bad.
Because Bahrain, those first couple sort of few races never really deliver. Like Australia, Hamilton seems to have some sort of curse.
The only reason why it's like a hyped up race is because it's the first of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Like if it was in right slap bang in the middle of the season, everyone would be like,
Yeah, and I think that it'll be interesting to see who fills in for Valtteri Bottas next season at China, because who knows?
Nikita Mazepin if he gets into F1 as well.
Yeah, well,
Happy
it's,
first birthday, COVID.
no, that was awful. I can't believe I'm
how is
all
this man possibly on the grid?
I'm all for drivers having freedom of expression through social media, through clothing, through whatever, but so many of them abuse it.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like okay boomer, but like the only person on the grid who's really done it this year was Kimi when he made that post that was like, oh yeah, here's James Hunt, a real champion. Here's Lewis wearing like his matching bucket hat, shorts and shirt on a scooter. Yeah, I know, but
It was quite funny.
you got to
but
you got to consider like you're meant to be a professional sports person.
Yeah.
Like you can't just do that.
to just take digs.
Imagine Harry Kane posting that before Chelsea Spurs.
Yeah, I mean he'd be right because he'd probably he'll probably win. So
Okay, let's
Yeah.
not talk about that.
It's. I think it's funny though, like finding that balance now between drivers of like we want to see their personality and we want to see that personal side, but at the same time we don't want to see them overstep the mark. And some of them, I mean, we've seen it with there's been a massive argument about like the we races one, Black Lives Matter, like some drivers taking the knee, some not, and a lot of fans have, for the drivers that haven't taken the knee, they've looked into why they haven't, and at the end of the day, like that's their decision. It's not something that people should be obsessing over. I think it's important sometimes to bring light to the issue, but I don't know, it's a tough topic to talk about because it's such like a fine line nowadays. It's so, you've got to be so careful what you say and what you do.
yeah, in my opinion, what would have been the best thing to do would have been to find a gesture that all the drivers are comfortable with doing.
Yeah.
Just so that there was a show of solidarity no matter what it was that they did. I do think I think that all the excuses for the drivers who are refusing to do it are a bit phony. I feel like they don't want to because F1's got quite a young following because the drivers are so young. I think a lot of those, because younger people are generally more liberal in their politics, and I think a lot of young people are having a sudden awakening that Formula One drivers who typically come from very rich backgrounds aren't particularly liberal.
No, which shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, they should not be surprised by
Yeah.
this. But I think that, I think that a lot of people are quite, not hurt, but they're not upset either. They're just kind of like, why aren't you doing it? But they don't seem to understand that fact, and it's totally understandable. We're seeing a totally new level of intimacy with the sport and the drivers that we've never seen before.
Which is good, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah, it comes at a cost. You see dark side or dumb things they do off script or whatever. But yeah, I mean, football could do it, and so why can't Formula One?
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, it's similar to. I mean, I guess it's a slight change of topic, but I mean, I saw something on I think it was either Instagram or Twitter, and it was Hamilton. I don't know if you guys saw, like, he was in a sponsorship with LG, and
we watched this advert earlier. I made Ed watch it.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant advert. I love it.
And sort of like he was just sitting there watching TV, and everyone in the comments was like, "You don't need this bag," or like, "You don't." Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, people can say the same about. In fact, this is an argument I'm stealing from my nan. So thanks to my nan.
Shout out.
Shout out to my nan. That every time. How dare you say that to my nan? They take up every single gig that ITV can give out to any presenter. And I think it's kind of the same with what you're saying about Lewis. He doesn't need more money. I get that he's probably trying to use LG as a brand because LG are trying to be more economical. But I mean, they could have gotten Greta or someone to do that.
Yeah.
It's because of money.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a shame, really, that it's become, people forget that at the end of the day, F1 is a business, and these drivers, obviously they're doing all these sponsorships and stuff. Yes, Hamilton may partner with brands because he thinks, they're sustainable, they're his ideal sort of, like, he likes the brand's ideologies or what they're trying to move towards. I mean, it's like with Mercedes, he's, one of the reasons he's signing that contract is because he likes the idea of, trying to move towards that,
Nick wants to work at home, doesn't he? He doesn't want to do like loads of flying about other than for races. I was like, please don't bring up the old-fashioned argument that all the people who are just racist but won't admit it of, we drive for the team that supplied the Nazis. It's like in those times you had no choice. You either supplied them or your factory was burnt to the ground. Like, it's not like they chose to do that.
And it's like, how many years ago was that?
Many, and it's totally irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a pretty like point blank argument with a modern car brand that is trying to just improve themselves and become more diverse and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I thought I had a little thing written down here which was like our favorite races.
I was going to say, let's get back to the unless you have anything to add to that.
Yeah,
let's get back to what.
I've got nothing.
Enough depressing talk with.
Let's get back to the Bahrain GP, which is what we're really.
Cancelled today.
We always it's usually me or Tom who get like distracted from like I try to be good at it. I'm like, if this is a preview podcast, we're talking about this. If it's a We Races One podcast,
back to the script.
Yeah,
oh man, the NFL podcast.
I always go off.
Go and watch WINOL Gridiron. Gridiron.
Gridiron.
I don't know.
I'll call it
Please
Gridiron.
watch that.
He
It's
named
very
it.
good stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
We're begging you.
Anyway, back to the Bahrain GP podcast. This is the bit that I'm most excited for because I thought of a race that neither of you remembered somehow with my big brain. You guys can go first because I want to save mine for last.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing me and Ed have the same thing.
I want to take a crack at what race Torin has got.
Go on then, have a guess.
Is it 2010?
No.
Yeah,
no, I saw 2010. I had a little look on the wiki, and it was like
that was on
Vettel was leading, and then he had a gearbox failure.
That was on the endurance layout, which is what they should be using instead of the oval one.
Yeah, I really liked that. I thought that was really cool, that track.
I think it was a little too long, but I prefer long than short.
Definitely, but yeah, I went for the basic pick because I couldn't be bothered to do research, so I just went for 2014 Hamilton Rosberg having a dogfight. It was a great battle.
It's
that
really
was my
hard
pick.
Not to say 2014 because that's one of the best races of all time.
It was the most memorable.
Is it? Let alone probably the best race on that track. It's probably one of the best races in Asia. In F1. Probably anywhere east of the Prime Meridian. For there's not been many good races. at that circuit or in many of the Asian circuits because they're all kind of cookie cutter, same thing. I would go 2014, but I'm inclined to say 2019. I'm going to be a little different. Obviously, I know 2014 is better, but I feel like being different. So 2019.
Leclerc stands like
Leclerc.
you little.
Yeah, don't come at me, Leclerc. Sorry, but
Norris Stan versus Leclerc Stan.
I'm not a Leclerc.
The battle for the
I'm not
ages.
Stan. I'm gonna cry on mic.
He's going to go and play Euro Truck Simulator now and hope that he lands in Norris's lobby.
I've actually played that before as well.
Oh, it's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I got a Razer keyboard. This is totally off topic, but when I press the indicator buttons, my keyboard flashes on that button because the indicator's flashing.
That's mental. Right. Back to 2019. Right. So I liked it because there was a little bit of drama. I didn't like it because Hamilton won.
Obviously.
I don't like those Hamilton. I'm never going to drop
Hamilton
this.
wins. It's not a good race.
I know.
Jesus, that peaked a bit.
Hamilton won in 2014. That doesn't make it not a good race. It's just like a bit of a negative for me. But yeah, I'm obviously Leclerc pole by quite some way. We kind of knew that was going to happen before we came into the event. And then obviously the heartbreaking engine failure. But he still got a podium, did he not?
No, yes, he
He still came
came.
third. He got lucky because the double Renault retirement. Sorry guys, the double Renault retirement.
Man, that was rough. I remember that.
Pain.
I thought he was gonna get a podium. He was gonna. He would have gotten that podium. So I bet.
We got a tattoo a year earlier.
Yeah, the tattoo bet only happened this year though, Ed,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I know.
mock away.
Yeah.
Mock away.
Sorry, I would have missed out on it.
Tattoo.
Go on then, Ed. What's your blow our minds?
The best. I'll give you a hint. Sergio Perez came 16th.
That's not a hint.
Exactly.
20. Well, when did
that
Perez?
means it has to be, 20,
Would have to be
2012 after.
13.
2012.
No.
2013.
It's not even
Not
until
13 or 12.
2015.
2018.
2018.
2018. What?
Double DNF in the first lap for Red Bull. Kimi yeeted his mechanic. Vettel drove a set of hards to the point that they basically just died.
That was a gruesome injury, to be fair.
It was horrible, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the one.
That was the one
yeah.
where his
his leg
That's the only thing I can remember from that race.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. Because it wasn't like the Stroll one where it was a really light impact, but because obviously with G-forces, you can have a light incident and not get any injury from it in particular and go further. Like the Stroll one looked so much worse in Imola than Kimi's one did with his mechanic.
I don't know about that. He got his leg snapped in half by a tyre. I went.
Did he? Am I getting this mistaken?
Yeah.
Oh, of course I am. I'm thinking of.
He was still holding the car.
That's going to sound really insensitive now because I thought of the wrong incident. I apologise for that because
Formula
now I
One was
remember that
cancelled.
incident and I remember that I watched the replay and I felt like physically ill. That was horrible. I remember that now. It was like Burrow's. We're going to talk about this in the NFL podcast. Like Burrow's injury the other day where you like heard his ACL tear.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's not the highlight of it. Obviously, the highlight of it was Sebastian Vettel's drive. I've become a massive Vettel fan in the past few days, and Ed's getting really upset about it.
I'm not upset.
Because I keep sending Vettel TikToks and stuff to our
I
group
I
chat.
do like to see him do well.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of him when he dominated in the early 2010s because I was a Hamilton McLaren fanboy. That soon changed. But yeah, I think like 2020 from 2016 onwards, I preferred him to Hamilton, and like 2018, I wish he'd won that championship. That would have been amazing if he'd won that championship with Ferrari. That would have just been fantastic.
Well, we got a Pierre Gasly P4,
Oh yes.
Kevin Magnussen P5.
That was when he was his first year in
was
for
like,
Rosso, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
like a second. It was his
Standout
second race in F1.
Yeah.
And a rare point for Esteban Ocon.
Oh, controversial.
I'm just saying, he's a long way off his teammate this season, but is that because Daniel Ricciardo is the best driver on the grid? Yes.
I would
Is the
agree.
Rosberg explosion photo. Is Ocon's career over?
I don't.
That timestamp too.
I'll tell you what. I know what's going to happen next year when Alonso steps in there. They are going to be the closest teammates on the grid, I think. Because I don't think Alonso's got it. Not in these cars.
Because Alonso's not used to the new cars, and Ocon is not as good as Ricciardo.
Well, the
so
last
it's
car he
gonna
drove
be-
was 2018, and the aero's changed a lot since
Yeah.
2018. Let alone the fact that was a McLaren as well. I don't know. I mean, it'll be pretty strange to see. He's driven the 2018 car, the Renault, at Bahrain on a test day because you can run an old car as many times as you want. You just can't run a new one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope they don't get to let him into the young driver test because that would be ridiculous. As much as it's usually seen as a test of your new driver for next season, it is meant for young drivers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other points we had down here was the constructors. Obviously,
Renault
Racing Point had a good weekend. Renault they were doing so well.
They will, because Ricciardo's going to get another podium this season.
I hope he does.
There's one more.
I hope he does.
There's one more this season. I know
definitely could see it.
It'll be in Bahrain next week. Don't go there. Do you remember when Ocon almost got a podium earlier this season?
In Belgium 2018.
No. No, he qualified P3 in Belgium.
No,
2018.
he got a podium.
Did he really?
It was the Racing Point's first race. He qualified P4.
A little bit of research here.
He qualified I think Perez qualified P3.
VAR checking.
What year was it where they had that contact? Perez and Ocon.
That was
2018 Belgium.
Yeah.
Right,
which is why the finishing results of the Spa Grand Prix in 2018 were Vettel, Hamilton, Verstappen. They came second and third on the grid.
I feel like I would have remembered if Ocon got a podium.
Not second and third and fourth, because it's that iconic "Here comes Sebastian Vettel" line when it's all four of them four wide. Because they came into third. Yeah.
Oh,
he was into like the lead for like the tiniest second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic moment.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's been a shame that Ferrari hasn't been able to compete with Mercedes and Red Bull, but it has made certainly the midfield battle this season more interesting, and we're 3 races to go with them all with a huge shout of getting third. And obviously there's a lot of money in it. There's a big difference from P3 to P5. I think McLaren has the worst car out of the 3. But then I think they have the best driver pairing, in my opinion, which is controversial as a Ricciardo fan. But I think Norris has done really well. Between McLaren, Renault and Racing Point.
I think Racing Point has the best driver pairing. I think obviously Stroll is heavily underrated. He led 32 laps in Turkey. He's already had a podium this season.
Oh, we aren't talking about over the whole grid. We're talking about
just those 3 teams.
Okay, no, I do agree with Tom.
I'd say, you think McLaren?
I think
Norris is still heavily overrated, even as a
I do think
he's overrated, but
he's overrated. But I think compared to, when we talk about these 3 teams, there's 2 tiers. It's literally the first and second drivers. Sainz, Ricciardo, and Perez. Ricciardo's the best driver out of the 3.
Yeah.
And then the second drivers, the best driver out of the 3 is... I'd probably pick Norris if I had to.
Yeah, I think it's tough.
I think Stroll's inconsistent.
It's a hot take, but I'd put them both ahead of Ocon.
Oh, yeah. I think Ocon's probably the worst driver out there.
I think those years out damaged him more than anything else.
I think next year he will improve. I think he'll probably do a Norris, because Norris had a decent first season, but he wasn't fantastic. He had the floor wiped with him with Carlos. But I think he will have a better season next season, which is why, although I think it will be close between Alonso and Ocon, I think Ocon will beat Alonso, definitely, next season. But I mean, yeah, it's I think Racing Point, realistically, with, Abu Dhabi and the oval track and this one, I think with their Mercedes engine, they probably are the favourites to take it. I think it will be a big opportunity missed if they don't get that P3, considering how they were pretty much the second fastest car in testing.
Yeah, everyone was like, Racing Point are going to probably even stick it to Mercedes at one point, people were thinking. And they have underwhelmed, I'll say that.
Definitely.
They've gone from allegedly the second best car. Red Bull obviously overtook them quite early on in terms of development, because Racing Point won't have much, if any, development.
Yeah.
Because they have to do their own development.
I mean, it was going to happen with Red Bull's budget, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think Albon hasn't done Red Bull any favours in terms of how good they look.
No.
But I also think Verstappen's been dragging that car to results it probably shouldn't be taking.
I think Verstappen's had I don't know.
I don't agree with that, and I know you're a Verstappen fan. I know this is going to...
I'm an everyone fan at this point.
Everyone except for Hamilton.
I'm wearing a Red Bull fan, so I'll go with a Red Bull fan.
And you've got blue trousers on because you're an Alpine fan.
Alpine, yes.
I
forgot about that.
Apparently that's how that's pronounced. I've
Alpine,
gone through my whole life calling it an Alpine
Really?
A110.
I'm looking forward to see what that livery will look like.
It's gonna apparently it's gonna be the French tricolore.
Yeah, I know it's gonna
which
be
means it's gonna be blue.
Red. I need to say yellow. Blue, white, and yellow.
Bit of banana colour on there.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Anyway,
Yellow and blue. Alonso's old.
It's Subaru colours.
Yeah, it's Subaru colours. Right,
It has gold rims.
Bring back the BMR livery.
Anyway, back to the actual topic that we were talking about, because I just distracted us entirely. I think that if Red Bull built a car that was made for two different drivers, that Albon and Verstappen wouldn't be equal, but they wouldn't be as far off as they are.
Oh, yeah,
No,
for sure.
I
Albon is
completely
obviously-
agree.
And I think that Racing Point would have a lot more podiums, because I think Max would struggle with driving a car that's not built to him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if we remember the 2017 season, 2017? Or was it 2018?
2018, Ricardo.
One of the 2017, because in 2018 they sabotaged Ricardo after he
Mm. Made
signed
the
his
decision,
Renault
yeah.
contract. Yeah,
Yeah,
what is that?
I know this is off topic, but I got a question. So Baku 2018, whose fault was that? Who do you
When?
think?
Verstappen.
Oh, this is totally off topic, but it's
I know,
Verstappen's
it's just
fault.
on my mind. I think it's something we should.
It's
Ricardo
absolute Verstappen.
did the fake move. Verstappen moved once to the left. Ricardo switched back to overtake, and he made another move.
Yeah,
And it was under braking. You're not
Verstappen
supposed
is
to make
the correct
another move
answer.
under braking.
But
What
Wow.
instant? We were talking about an instant earlier as well, me and you.
we
What did we watch earlier? We watched an F1. We watched like highlights of a race. I can't remember.
yeah, I can't.
It's
Wasn't
kinda-
Spain 2016, was it? That was another
No, but it is
controversial
quite
one.
similar to Austria 2016
Oh, was
with
it- would it
Rosberg.
been Leclerc Verstappen, Austria 2018.
No, we weren't watching. But I'm talking about the same corner. But I'm talking about the Rosberg and Hamilton incident.
Oh, right. Okay.
That is a good example to draw on with the
Oh, yeah.
Ricardo and Verstappen crash.
Well, Rosberg broke his wing, yeah.
Yeah, because he just doesn't give him any space in the corner,
Mm.
and it's just totally, it's just dangerous. At the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Mm. I don't know. I can't remember that sort of like instant extremely clear. I know the aftermath of it, obviously. But I mean, it's hard, that corner, because of the natural, way that the corner flows. The one on the outside is always going to be pushed to the curbing.
Yeah, it's just the racing line.
I think
Great.
the Vettel's overtake, I can't remember who it was on, but he did a really good overtake, and he sort of like pushed them to the outside, made them wait, and then turned in. It was
That
completely
was on
clean,
Hamilton, I think.
no contact. It might have been on Hamilton, yeah. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, that was a really good overtake. Way
Yeah.
to turn in, because if they turn in, it's their fault.
That's how it should be done. I personally, because I prefer Leclerc to Verstappen, I think the 2018, I think it was 2018.
2019.
2019, sorry, instant between Verstappen and Leclerc, I think Verstappen shouldn't have been penalised, but I think
It was his fault, for sure.
it was definitely his fault, and I think it was quite dirty driving, to be honest, because he deserved to give him a space. But then it's kind of deserved, because I mean Leclerc did the same thing to Hamilton in Monza the same year, where really he probably should have got a penalty, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't want to see it happen, but sometimes you've got to accept
Because
that.
Verstappen got a penalty for the same thing on Bottas
Yeah.
the same year, but at turn one.
Mm.
So I think that was a bit of double standards there. They
Yeah.
basically exact same incident.
Mm.
And as much as I prefer Leclerc to Hamilton, I think that Hamilton did get a bit screwed over there.
Yeah, but I mean, back to sort of what we were talking about a few minutes ago, the Verstappen talk. I think Verstappen's had a good season. Don't think it was as good as last year. I think he did better last year
He's
than he
made
did this
so
year.
many mistakes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I was talking about a minute ago, the 2017 season. Or it might have been 2016. He had a season where he kept crashing. It was 2017.
With 2016,
Because he crashed.
Yeah.
That was his. Yeah.
So
So in
2017.
2017, he kept crashing. I think Ricardo came P3 in the championship. Yeah, no.
Verstappen was like P6, P7.
Yeah, but he was. Yeah, Verstappen was where Albon is now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because for the first 6 races, it's the one where he went to Canada, and the guy asked him, he was like, "Are you gonna get
I'm
your
getting
season
really
back on
sick
track?"
of-
He's
yeah,
like, "I'm
yeah,
sick
yeah.
of this, and if someone else asks me, I'm
Yeah.
gonna headbutt them."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Was that season where he was? He did end up getting a podium in Spain, but then he like under the safety car. He, I don't know how I remember this, but like he tagged someone under the safety car. It was around the back of the track in Catalonia. I think it might have been
Oh yeah, he
possibly
got a bit of damage. I think it was on Stroll.
Stroll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how I can remember that, yet not any of the other stupid things that he did.
Yeah,
that
and then
season.
bit of damage with a bit of
One of my
contact with
favourite
Stroll,
is
Malaysia
somehow-
2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favourite Verstappen moments was USA 2018, the stopper overtake at the long right-hander, and he got the podium. And then
Oh yeah, when he
got
took it
to-
from
Oh.
Kimi.
He got the podium, but then he got a penalty to move
When he
behind
when he
Kimi, and
like
had to
did
get-
a fucking Benjamin Daly and just track exted the whole entire corner. Yeah.
To be fair, I reckon that probably shouldn't have been penalised. Like,
Of course, it should have been penalised.
It was
It
off
shouldn't
the
have been.
circuit, but he was there and Kimi was
No.
I don't know.
He had
Kimi was
all
blocking the
four-
inside
he had
line.
all four. Yeah, so you go around the outside or you break.
Or you just don't go for the move.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he should have waited more than anything. But like,
Yeah, because he could have dived at the last corner easily.
I think it's a little harsh to penalise.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I don't know. I think it definitely should have been a penalty.
What would have been better if he returned the position and got it back at turn 1, which he would have done.
But that was the last lap.
I thought it was the second to last lap.
No,
It
last
was
lap.
the last lap.
It was that's why it got penalised.
Yeah.
So
So everyone went crazy on the radio.
yeah,
and
because he would have gotten him the next lap, but there was no next lap,
Yeah.
and there was no next lap for Kimi to come back. So it's
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
outside of track limits.
But yeah,
You
but
give the
yeah.
position back.
I thought.
Yeah, as you said, if there were more laps left, I probably would have said it was quite a harsh penalty. But it was like the third last corner of a 50 lap race or however many laps it was.
I'm going to bring it on to another topic.
Is it Bahrain GP 2020 related?
I'm going to bring it back on track to the Bahrain.
Okay.
I
I thought it Bahrain for a second.
VAR rain. F2 this weekend. Thought I'd bring it on something a little bit different.
Jack Aitken for the championship. Calling it.
Who do you think? All right, we've already heard Ed's pick.
Ed doesn't
Who
win
do
any
you
points.
think is going to win
It's
the
going to
title?
be Schumacher, isn't it? Like,
Wait, we're not doing an actual prediction points.
no, we won't because like I haven't watched enough of it.
That was a joke.
Have you?
For legal reasons.
I've watched.
For legal
I've watched
reasons.
quite a bit of it.
I've watched almost all of it.
I think Schumacher. I don't know. I think who's. I'm pretty sure it's Eilert that's in second in the championship.
Schumacher, Eilert,
Um,
Schwartzman, I think.
Is it Schwarzman? I think it's
I think Schwartzman's third.
I think it might be Snowder.
I think Snowder might have just pipped him. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I think it will be really. I've been looking forward to having F2 back. Honestly, I think sometimes I prefer F2 to F1. I get more. Sometimes I even get more hyped
F2 is
over
much better than
F2
F1 in terms of the actual racing product.
because this season there's been so many like just good talents that have come in. I did expect Lundgaard and Armstrong to be a bit better. I was a bit disappointed, to be honest, in that ART that De
I
Vries
think
dominated with.
That second ART car is always it's a bit like the Red Bull.
Yeah,
Like Aitken got that treatment.
yeah.
Mazepin got that treatment last year, and Armstrong's got that treatment this year.
Mm.
If you're not the first driver at ART, you are not going to perform.
True. But it's been good to see I'm a bit of a Prema fanboy. I like seeing them do well. So it's been. I think it was good to get rid of Galale.
Gosh,
The
Galale.
bloody KFC helmet. But I think it's been good to see Schumacher, Schwartzman. That's a killer combo. And I think we've made a lot of hot takes this podcast. I'm going to make another one. I think Schwartzman will win the championship next year. And I think he will be in F1 the season after.
What seat is he going to take?
Alfa Romeo.
Unless all this talk
I
of
think-
Cosworth coming back is
I
true.
think
Like,
Kimi will retire at the end of 2021.
Thank God.
I think Kimi will retire and Giovinazzi will get booted because he should have been already.
No, you can't say that. Like I thought that at first, but 2 seasons isn't enough, surely.
I just don't think.
What do they
I
lose?
just don't think he's got it.
What do they lose by keeping in a bad car for 1 more year?
Potentially.
I don't know.
A point.
Future champion.
Who's the future champion?
Schwartzman could be a potential future champion.
I don't think there's any, unless Formula One goes through some sort of mad revolution. I don't think we're gonna see anyone else in those 2 Ferrari seats for another 5 years.
It's not, you think Sainz is going to
Not 5 years, sorry, like 3 years.
You
But
think Sainz is going to stay there for 3 years?
yeah,
Wow.
I think he'll spend a lot more of his career there.
I think
I think
I
Sainz
think he
perform,
will, but I think within the next 5 years, this is a mixture of me being a bit realistic but more optimistic. I think there's gonna be more than 3 teams fighting for the title in the next 5 years. I think not necessarily more than 3 teams at the same time, but I do think Renault have definitely made steps this year that they're showing intentions that they want to be a top team. I think McLaren will get there at some point.
Ricardo World Champion 2022.
Hopefully, that's fingers crossed right there.
I'd actually prefer Ricardo to be world champion than Norris.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So I
Because
hate
Twitter
Norris,
would
I hate
explode.
myself.
Yeah, they wouldn't stop. They wouldn't shut up about
They'd
it.
rename Twitter like something to do with Lando.
Yeah.
Norris
Lando
out.
bot.
Lando Land,
That's good actually.
something like that. And then I think Aston Martin are gonna make a title fight. If not next year, 2022.
God, Lace Stroll.
Um,
Could you could you imagine if Vettel breaks Hamilton's record with Aston Martin?
That will be.
I'd
oh
actually
my.
love to see that.
That would be.
Of course you would, because you can't keep your opinions to
I
yourself.
can't. Well, I dislike Vettel too, but if anyone can take off Hamilton, please
I did dislike Vettel,
do it with a shopping trolley.
but I think he's matured when he's come to Ferrari. The car hasn't suited him. He's made a lot of mistakes, but I think he has learnt from them. And I think this year he's been not underperforming, but I think it's a mixture of the car being made for Leclerc and the fact that the Ferrari knew that he was leaving, so they haven't been giving him the best car.
I think, if we go back to just Vettel for a sec, in terms of my opinions of him, it was until that interview with Martin Brundle, I think it was at Hungary. He had a long sit down with Martin Brundle.
Yeah, it's a really nice interview.
That was when my
that was
opinion
cool.
changed of him. I'd always thought, he's just a whiny little annoying person. And
Blue flags.
Why's it got to be little? What, have you got something against little people?
No. I just said little and said something else. But yeah, I think I am much more fond of Vettel now. I'm less fond of their fans. Their fans like celebrate a P10 like it's a win, which, considering he was winning races 2 years ago, or even 1 year ago, it's just like how the greats fall. But I think Vettel at some point is going to have one more chance. Might be with Aston
I hope
Martin.
he does.
I don't think Aston Martin's going to be his last car either.
Really?
I think he might get one more shot. Similar, maybe like McLaren. I can see him at McLaren.
Really?
Yeah. And
I don't know. I think he'll end his career at Aston Martin. It's sad to say, but I think he will stay there. And if he doesn't win the championship in 2022, there's a good chance he'll go, or maybe he'll stay for another season and then he'll go.
I can
He's got
see
a
him
3-year
doing
contract. I don't think he'll.
Yeah, he's got a
reach
3-year
that.
contract, so he's there till 2023.
Or he'll stay till 2023 then, and then leave after that if he hasn't been able to win the championship.
I see him doing a bit of Kimi Räikkönen going to Alfa Romeo Sauber where he started.
The sad thing is that, and this is something that I came to terms with, not come to terms with, but it was difficult to get my head around when he got kicked out of Ferrari, is that when Seb leaves the grid, we won't see him very much. He doesn't have social media. He doesn't care about being in interviews and adverts and stuff.
No.
I think F1 won't be the end of his motorsport career though.
Oh no, I think he'll go.
He'll go DTM.
I think he's got passion. Well, if DTM exists by then, which
Yeah.
Well, they're going to
Better
looks
than
like they're
the
going to
great
those
story
e-cars, doesn't it? They've got the electric 1,000 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower
Trucks.
yeah,
things. Yeah.
Formula E even, I can see him.
maybe
Yeah.
F2's path now is Formula E.
Yeah.
Because there's too many drivers in there. Alex Lynn was meant to be the next great big thing going into
Yeah.
Manor, and then
He's somewhere in the
Look at him now.
yeah, that's what jogged my memory. I remember when he was meant to be the next big thing,
Yeah.
and now he's sort of permanent Formula E, which is nothing against, because that sport's growing all the time.
Like,
but-
I'm looking forward to. I wouldn't usually say this, but I'm looking forward to Formula E. Because one, we have something to talk about over the winter.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm
It's not
looking
just
forward to it.
NFL, but,
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I watched the season last year. Formula E. This is the problem I have with Formula E. Formula E has got so much potential. The cars are so competitive. There is the best driver talent in that series apart from F1. No other series has better talent if you're talking cars. The problem that I have is that their whole ideology when they started was, we're going to bring motorsport to the streets of cities, and we're going to promote electric, and we're going to promote being greener. Formula E will not grow as a motorsport if they don't start going to purpose-built tracks, because the racing is never going to be amazing when you're on dust-filled tracks that are never used the rest of the year.
The crashes are though.
True.
I
True.
think that's the thing, because last year they tested at Valencia Ricardo Tormo.
Yeah.
And they just put in a couple of mobile chicanes. That's all you need.
Yeah,
Put
exactly.
in a couple, maybe concrete walls to line the circuit. Not that difficult. They do that anyway. And then they'll have the pre-built fan base of the people who already like that circuit, and then the people who already like the series.
Exactly.
Like if they raced at Silverstone, I'd be going.
Yeah.
I was gonna go. I was gonna hopefully go to the the race at the XL Centre.
Right, that was
So
the one
London-
in London.
London,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was hopefully going to go to that.
Yeah.
But, obviously didn't.
Mm.
I would have actually been on holiday at the time, which was
It reminds me of the time that I swear wasn't F1 rumoured to have a street track in London, or am I being silly?
They go through the Wellington Arch, which is
There was like 3 different.
It's like 2 meters wide.
Yeah.
Like power cars.
Yeah,
They'd
I
straight
don't know how
through
that
there.
was even a rumour to start with.
It was an official rumour as well. They had like
Yeah,
a full track guide.
yeah. But no, I think I watched Formula E last year, and you know I'd had a couple of seasons of not watching it, and it definitely has improved because I remember I watched actually the first season of it, and like it was just the technology wasn't quite there yet to make it.
Nelson Piquet Jr. is winning the title. You know, it's
Yeah. But I think now that they've got
Here
that...
we go, driver bashing. It's going on again.
Eden is driver bashing. First Hamilton,
You are the
first
Jeremy
Vettel.
Kyle of Formula One.
I will end this man's career.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
But no, but yeah, I think one thing that you know, we're sort of like starting to come to the tail end of the season now. I was actually just having a look at the standings, and not only is there a good battle for obviously P4 if I can speak, with Perez, Ricciardo, and Leclerc, but there's also a really interesting battle for P7 between Sainz, Norris, and Albon. Sainz looks good to sort of. I think he's, you know, much better than Norris. Sorry, Norris stands.
You just set Twitter on fire.
Yeah. Twitter's gonna come at me now.
You're not gonna live to see tomorrow.
But I don't know. I think maybe if Albon has a couple of good races, then maybe he could get that P7. But
I see Albon getting a podium.
Really?
For the end of the season, I see him getting one more.
I think,
or at least being
there's
there
a good
and then
chance.
spinning it away.
Yeah,
wow.
there's a good chance. I think Abu
I'm an Albon
Dhabi.
fan too.
I think Abu Dhabi will be a snooze fest, and I think if Red Bull can come there with the second fastest car, and either Hamilton, Verstappen, or Bottas has some sort of failure, he will be in one of those top 3 places.
I think I said this last week, and probably we've only had one, but one podcast. But I'm looking forward to when Hamilton finally has some reliability issues.
I'm looking forward to Hamilton's 100th pole position, which is quite soon actually.
How many is he on now?
96.
So
oh my God.
I reckon we're about to get to predictions in a second, but I'm just looking forward to the time when his engine finally pops or something.
I can't believe you're wishing bad fortune on
wishing
someone.
it, but I'm looking forward to the fact that we haven't seen it in so long.
The words looking forward to
Isn't
consider
that
that you're
wishing?
You know what I
wishing.
mean, though? You know what I mean?
Hold on, let me just get... Hey
so
Siri.
It's been so long since anything bad's happened to him in terms of that kind of thing. Bottas has had that bad luck. Verstappen's had that bad luck. Vettel has had that bad luck. And Leclerc, all the top drivers have had that bad luck. Hamilton hasn't had a reliability issue.
When was it? Was it
2 or 3
was it like
seasons.
Malaysia 2016?
I think that
Because that's the only one that I can
that
remember.
might actually be his last retirement.
Which is
It's
crazy.
not his
to
last
think
retirement, but it's his last.
His
Like,
last, like
engine
That can't be
yeah.
his last retirement, surely.
no,
not.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Because I can't remember
There
any
might be
others.
one in 2017. Like,
Maybe.
Obviously, he had the nightmare at Germany last year, but he still finished that race and he would have got points, but he got a penalty.
But I'm talking like not retirement as in like he crashed. I'm talking like engine failure or something like that. Yeah.
He hasn't had proper bad reliability since 2012.
Austria 2018.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Okay. Yeah, Austria 2018.
They both retired. They both have had engine failures. No, one was gearbox. One
Was it
engine.
overheating? Because they can.
Yeah, that was because they had a really bad overheating issue in
Yeah.
2018.
That was still over 40 races ago with the calendar.
But I mean, yeah. The other thing that I've just seen, which is very interesting, is so Albon's in 9th currently in the championship with 70 points. Guess who's behind him?
Leclerc. No, wait, Vettel.
No,
Stroll.
it's Gasly
Yeah.
on 63 points. He's 7 points.
Let's go, Pierre.
Behind
got to remember, he
Albon.
got a win.
If-
he got a dub.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is if Albon has another couple of nightmare races where he spins out or crashes or, you know, makes contact with Hamilton whilst going for the overtake for a podium, then Gasly could be within a shot of getting past him in the championship because Gasly's been really consistent. He doesn't really make mistakes. That AlphaTauri has really been starting to perform in the tail end of the season. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that is what you call a redemption for Pierre Gasly, finishing ahead of the person that replaced him in Red Bull. I mean, that is just fantastic.
I think Gasly's had probably one of the best seasons of anyone this year in terms of.
I think he's the standout driver.
I think obviously Lewis Hamilton, you've got to say he's got to be the best driver of the grid. I think Gasly's a solid P2.
I think we'll probably talk about this more if we have, one of our winter break podcasts, sort of talking about our standout, drivers of the season or whatever. But yeah, I do think that he is certainly up there. I think he's one of the sort of 3 or 4 that have had like real breakthrough seasons. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good way to sort of segue onto our predictions for the race. I mean, Ed, I don't know if you want to go first.
Predictions. Let's just run through the format of the predictions again.
Yeah.
So I believe it's pole, top 5 in the race, first DNF, and crazy prediction. Is that right, Torin?
Yes. Well,
Missing any?
random prediction. Something you think might happen.
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure something out. So Lewis Hamilton's had 26 DNFs in his entire F1 career. This weekend is his 265th race start. So your odds of getting a Lewis Hamilton DNF are that slim, however much that is. Like one.
26th, did you?
He's done 26. He's had 26 retirements in 265 races.
So
Some quick maths on the podcast there.
10%.
Yeah, 10%. So 1 in 10. Which
Is
means,
it really that high? 1 in 10?
Time to put the acca on.
but that's because he had really bad reliability issues in 2012, which is what pushed him out of the
He
team.
had like Ricardo 2018.
That's what brought the stat up. Yeah.
Let me.
Anyway, I'll go for my prediction first. I think pole it'll be Hamilton. It's obviously only going to be really a toss up between him and Bottas, Verstappen, outside chance.
Just one thing while I remember it.
Oh yeah.
6 of those 26 retirements were in 2012 alone.
Brilliant.
Anyway, back to you.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think Hamilton pole. I think Hamilton win, with Verstappen second, Bottas third. I think Ricardo will come 4th and Albon will come 5th. I think first DNF will be poor Charles Leclerc. I think he'll have a similar fate to last year. that you praying there, Tom?
Pray for Leclerc.
Oh, right, I thought you were praying for. Okay.
No. I love that Leclerc.
And my random prediction will be: I think DRS will. Well, it's not really random prediction. I think DRS is going to be way too OP. I don't know if that's.
Is that crazy?
I don't know if I'll allow. You know what? I'm not going to allow that actually.
Okay, fine.
Because
What a crazy prediction.
My prediction is
Jesus.
crazy. That's why I'm trying to rebrand
Right,
it. But
give me a sec. You guys go first, and I'll come.
I just wanted to point out one more thing about as a fun fact. So Lewis Hamilton's been with Mercedes for 7 seasons now.
Yeah.
He's had 8 retirements in that entire time. So he's had almost as many in those 7 years as he had in 2012. He's only had 2 more.
That is mental.
They build their cars to last.
That
What I was
is
going to say.
mental.
My predictions are Lewis Hamilton on pole. My prediction, as in my out there prediction, and Ed's going to tell me off for this, and I'll come up with another one, is there's going to be a Max Bottas Hamilton podium.
I'm going to tell you off.
Is that crazy?
Huh?
Oh, is that the crazy prediction?
Yeah.
Nah, come on.
Okay, I'll figure something else out. But you know what? Okay, so my crazy prediction will be that it'll be a more exciting race than next week's one. Which means you have to come back and give me this point. Oh, you know what? No, that won't be fair.
That's obvious.
Okay, so next week I'll use next week's will be more boring. Okay, I'll come back to mine while Tom's doing his as well then. My final top 6. We need to remember top 6 this time, otherwise you're going to end up with Mario.
Top 5.
Is it top 6 or 5?
I think it's top 5.
I've made it for top 6, but we only did 5 last time.
Oh, okay.
Like the graphic has got all 6 slots on.
Okay,
Alright, well,
we can do 6 if you want this weekend.
Did you pick a 6th, Ed?
Go on, pick one now, just
Norris.
randomly.
Nice.
Not feeling a Russell 6th, Latifi.
Not Russell 16.
So, final standings for me: Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, Albon, Ricardo. First DNF, Lando Norris.
I've got to be honest, I'm making mine up on the fly here.
I just made mine up while you were talking a few minutes ago, yeah.
I'm going to go for... I'll start with my crazy prediction first. I think there is going to be a T-bone at turn 1. I think someone's going to get
Stroll Sainz style or Gutierrez Maldonado style?
I'm going Gutierrez Maldonado.
No.
I think someone's going to get completely just sent. I think someone's going to get hairpin timed. I'm not sure who that's going to be. I think that's a crazy enough prediction in itself without me having to name names or say who I exactly think it's going to be. Don't think it will be any of the leaders, but I think it will be a crazy midfield crash. You know what? I'll throw a name in there. I think Grosjean's going to do it just for the meme.
Days.
I think Grosjean will do it for the meme, and I think maybe, I don't know, Latifi. They'll spark their... Did they collide in Turkey? I feel like they did, Grosjean and Latifi. Because wasn't that where Grosjean had that radio where he said a lot of expletives?
I thought that was qualified.
That was last week, and that was Latifi.
Was it Latifi and Grosjean? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it was in the race.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a repeat of that battling on track. And I think Grosjean is going to send Latifi to space. But yeah, I've gone for... My poll, I think I'm going to go for Hamilton. It's a basic pick, but it's going to be between Hamilton or Bottas. I'm going to go for a Bottas win. I think, and that is more, to be fair, that's more just me hoping it happens. I think it's going to be a snooze fest. I think it's going to be Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen. I've gone for Sainz. I think Sainz is going to have a good race. I think it's going to be Albon, and then I think it's going to be Ricciardo. That's my
not backing your boy
prediction. I want to, but I'll probably favour him in the other two races. So we can't make this a biased podcast. I gotta slander him at some point, or I gotta not big him up all the time. Let's say.
I love Lewis Hamilton. Not being biased.
I love all of the drivers equally.
Except Lewis Hamilton.
Except Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, I'm really struggling to think of a prediction. I'm gonna have to try and Have you got one yet? Did you come up with a crazy prediction?
You two need to replace yours.
Yeah, because I was already boring and trying to steal those 2 points.
I think there will be a crash at I think it's turn 8. Oh, no, that's Turkey. The long left-hander downhill braking lock-up zone before the second DRS.
I'm not sure what
I don't know the numbers, but I think that might be 7 or 8. Yeah.
I think it's turn 7. I think there will be a crash there at some point.
I'm going to go with Ferrari-powered car has a failure of some description, mechanical or engine or whatever.
I think we'll let you have that one.
Of course you're going to let me have that one. I'm the one who makes the prediction sheet, said. You seem to forget this. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that.
He's just going to change all of our predictions now and just put Grosjean, Magnussen.
He does the graphic.
Yeah, but we've all been learning media law, and so I'll be taken to court for libel for that.
I don't think you will. I think we're going to send you to court over that one, to be fair. I mean, we could.
My Photoshop skills are very powerful, Ed. I think I could probably do something to make you take me to court.
I do the editing, so I can.
This is true. He does do the editing.
You underestimate my power.
Haha.
It's literally that meme back and forth. We're just doing Uno reverse cards while Tom sits there and tries and eggs us on.
I'm just I'm just eating my popcorn.
Flashbacks from my house.
What, you're playing Uno?
Yeah. Uno, just the jump-in rule. Well, anyway, let's get a bit off topic.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's what we do. This podcast's been a lot more off topic than usual. We've all been a bit.
It has, but I think it's because it's been a bit of a quiet week. There hasn't really.
And day.
Apart from Magnussen, literally nothing's happened. So but then I think this is more to come. We're going to have more similar to these sort of podcasts when the season ends. Of more hot takes.
We'll probably have to do bi-weekly rather than every week because there's no way during the off season we can find enough.
We'll go crazy. We will literally go. We'll go.
Yeah, no, they will be really boring podcasts.
I mean, we'll have Formula E to talk about as well. So.
True. When does that start?
That's
January.
January.
Damn it.
So
Still a while.
So when it says it's the 2021 season, they're lying because it's just the 2021 season. That's the 20/21.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, is there any key things you guys think to look out for over the whole weekend? Obviously, this will be going up after practices happen, practice 1 and 2 at least. So, whatever. I doubt anything's happened in those.
I mean, I think
fast brew.
that is
Curbs go brewer. Actually, I want to change my prediction. Over the course of the weekend, a Ferrari-powered car is going to have a mechanical issue.
That's a
I don't know.
Over the course of the weekend.
I thought you were going to say something curve-related, like someone was just going to blow up on one of the exit curves.
I think the race prediction was still going to be correct, so I don't know.
I'm doing whole race weekend.
All right,
I'm going to expand.
How about 2 over the whole race weekend?
No. When was the last time we had a mechanical issue?
Often for a Ferrari car.
Oh, come on.
It's a cheap shot, but okay, I'll give you that.
Cheap shot.
Who do you think in the midfield's gonna have a really good weekend? Like, I have a feeling McLaren or AlphaTauri are gonna have a
McLaren.
madness. Albon's not midfield, Ed. He drives for Red Bull.
Are you sure?
Albon is
sure
a goat.
about that?
Okay.
Albon,
I think I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think McLaren are going to have a really good weekend because they haven't had one in quite a long time. I think, well, they did have a decent one last weekend, to be fair, but I think they're going to have a real standout one, and I think Sainz is going to pull ahead in seventh in the championship. Personally,
Ed, any hot takes before we wrap this up?
It's not actually F1 related. It's more podcast related.
Oh yeah,
As we're recording this, our good friend Torin has
good friend,
good
co-host.
friend, and we're all friends.
We are all friends. Yes, we do sit and watch Lewis Hamilton LG adverts in between matches. This is something that we do.
I am a trailblazer. We have our good friend Torin has recorded a lovely interview with Jack Sears Trophy winner and BTCC driver Michael Creech.
Yeah, fan
This
favorite.
will be on the end card if I remember to do it. So go check that out.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
literally just been uploaded in the past half an hour.
Lovely lad. It wasn't terrifying at all.
You did a very good job.
Thank you.
I would be.
I definitely didn't wake up like an hour before the interview.
I would be shaking.
and then go and email them, and then and then we had to push it back, and then I had more time to get ready for it, and I ended up eating my lunch with like 10 minutes till it, and I had to run back upstairs to go do the interview.
Shovel the cornflakes down.
Yeah, it was worse than cornflakes, but
Bran flakes.
but like yeah, it was a rush. Like I made it a rush myself, but yeah, it was great to interview him. Lovely guy. Definitely, you can see why he's the fan favorite on the grid. And it was
absolutely.
just really interesting to speak to someone who's done all of that. You know, he's someone who, and you know, he did have all his trophies out, and I kind of pointed out when we had a bit of a laugh right before the
Weird
podcast
flex.
started recording. I was like, that's cool. I can't fault you on that. I rate that because he had like, all the champagne bottles from this season as well, and I was like, are those all from this year? He was like, yeah. So this one's this. I was like, yeah, okay.
How
fair
many
play.
podiums is he? How many podiums has he
I
got
think
this
they're
year?
Jack Sears podiums,
Are
right?
they-
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
right, I
Jack
see.
Sears ones.
I
And
don't think so. I think because
the Jack Sears trophy is you can't have had a podium.
Right. Okay.
Or if
Did he
you're
get a
a
podium
previous
this year?
Jack
No, if you get well, it's I think he referred to it as a legit podium during it,
Right.
or
yeah.
real podium. As I don't remember what he said, but if you get a podium, that means you finish in the top 3 of the whole thing. You get excluded from it.
Yeah.
Right.
You also, I think, you have to be for an independent team as well.
I
Yeah, I
see.
think like that.
And then if you get a trophy, if you get a podium, you then are entered into the independents rather than the Jack Sears.
Right. I see.
And you can try and win because the independents has its own drives and constructors title.
It's confusing as all hell.
And then there's the overall, which is people like WSR and Halfa Suasa.
And Team Toyota, Gazoo.
Yeah, Team Ginsters. And they all race for the big prize.
Yeah. But no, I mean, he seemed. I've only watched literally like one of the races this year for the BTCC, which was the last one. And even then, just I've only really seen one interview with him, and he seemed like a really sort of, nice guy that everyone wants to see do well. But no, yeah, definitely go and check that out.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be on the end card. Thank you, Torin, for getting that first. Just getting the interview and then doing it.
Crazy scenes.
And
Biblical scenes.
yeah, it's mad to think that for our third episode. Well, this is our fourth, but our third episode of a podcast is interviewing a professional racing driver.
Yeah, hopefully some more to come. We'll
yeah,
see.
Definitely.
Because as a fan, they always seem like a whole level above. Like you're never going to reach them, never going to be able to talk to them. But it's great to be able to talk to them ourselves, and maybe for you guys as racing fans, be able to bring them to you.
Yeah, and as we said at the end of the previous video, I believe, I don't know if it got edited out or not in the great editing.
I am the editing.
But yeah, if you've got any drivers who you want us to reach out to and see if we can get
Absolutely,
an interview that you'd like to hear
That
from,
stayed in.
just leave it in a comment on this video or the other one, and we'll see what we can do. Obviously, I'd love to interview Pierre Gasly or Daniel Ricciardo tomorrow, but it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
so let's keep it realistic. But I mean, of course, feel free to ask whoever. And it didn't even, to be honest, it didn't even have to be motorsport. Like, if you want us to interview Antonio Brown, as much as I doubt that will happen,
We can
Yeah,
we
we
can
get-
try.
you never know. I'll get Tom Brady on the line just for
Christian Wade might actually be maybe a realistic one.
This is
Yeah,
true.
former
This is
rugby
true.
player who went to the NFL for the season.
Nevertheless,
But yeah,
thank you for listening again, and and hopefully listening to a previous one or the next one, whatever you do. We hope that if this is the first one you've listened to, that it's a good
Hope
enough
you enjoyed it.
advertisement. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We went off piece quite a bit,
Yeah.
but that's all part of the fun and games of an unscripted podcast.
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
No, hope
I
you
think
guys
that's all.
enjoyed, and we'll see you hopefully for the review podcast.
And the
Make
preview
sure
of the
you
next one.
subscribe.
Yeah.
We actually checked the stats earlier. It's a bit of a joke, but at
Yeah,
least-
we're not going to pull that.
We're not bringing that up, Ed.
No,
We're not bringing that up.
Yeah, I'm just a joke. Thank you for watching. We are appreciative of everything. Share with your friends. We're cool. We like that. Kind
Nice
of thing.
one. Well done. Cheers.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening.
So
I'll start recording now, but we can cut
So
this.
it's Bahrain GP
Yes.
preview.
Bahrain. Don't talk about Bahrain 2. Don't talk about that.
We're not talking about Bahrain 2 at
Bahrain.
all.
Well, that's next week, isn't it?
Bahrain Part 2.
The oval.
Ferrari
all
gonna
the
get lapped.
IndyCar drivers. Like, it's not an oval. Like, yeah, no shit.
We're not. We are. I don't know what the word is.
Is it the original one this week on the Oval?
This is
Original.
Original.
Right.
Right.
So we
We've
start.
been recording for 30 seconds.
Okay,
so
okay.
Just get Torin in the zone.
Zen.
Oh.
Yeah, the Halo theme just starts playing. Like,
Oh. Well, let's not do that. We'll get claimed. Bloopers section for the end, yeah.
hello and welcome to this episode of the Formula WINOL podcast. Today we are previewing the upcoming Bahrain Grand Prix.